Hello everyone, welcome back to the stream. So yeah, going to do some more multiplayer prototyping today. I started the newest game idea yesterday, and so I'm going to be continuing working on that during this stream as well. But first, I'd like to remind everyone that Gunforged is now available for purchase. It just came out on Monday. So this is the Steam page I've got up here, and yeah, so far so good. I've got 93% positive reviews out of 31, which is awesome. And yeah, the game is performing pretty well. I would call it a modest success. So if you'd like to support my work, you can purchase Gunforged using the link in the description below. But I also have Udemy courses available for purchase. If you want to learn how to build a complete game in the Godot engine, check those out as well. And of course, you could also like this video, subscribe to my channel, watch my other videos. All that good stuff is a great way to help. And I also have an email list at firebelly.com where I send out periodic updates about just what's going on with indie development and other things. So yeah, every way that you could support me and follow my work is linked in the description below. So please check that out. It'd be very much appreciated. And yeah, let's get right into this. So yesterday, I was working on getting this multiplayer set up here, and it's a little bit janky at the moment, but that's all right. But I've got it working now. So both players are being replicated on both the screens here. If I move inside of this window, it's being replicated on this side, and if I move on this side, it's being replicated on this side. So one of the problems that I'm having, or there's a couple problems that I'm having, which I need to address. And one of the problems is the movement of the hand is very choppy, because that is, I mean, the way that I'm using a framework called NetFox to do the multiplayer. And the reason for that is because NetFox gives me a bunch of functionality like rollback. So I'm doing a server authoritative structure with a client acting as the server. So that means that, you know, if this game's on Steam, you will host a lobby, you will play as a client, but also you will be the server. So you will host so that other players can connect to you. And since the server is authoritative, what essentially happens is the clients basically only send their inputs. The clients only have basically authority over the inputs. So that's like the keyboard, the mouse inputs, so on and so forth. And those inputs get sent to the server. And the server handles those inputs, and because the server is authoritative and controls all the game state, the server knows when it can make a change to each player based on the player inputs. The problem is that with a typical round trip, if you have a latency of 200 milliseconds one way, there's almost a half a second of delay between pressing an input key and actually seeing the movement on your screen. And so what network rollback is designed to do is to allow a smooth and responsive client feel while compensating for the latency between the client and the server. And so NetFox gives me the ability to utilize that kind of functionality, but it's a very different way of thinking about how to make games. And so I'm still discovering some things about this, but this rollback tick, I believe this only happens, so there's a network tick or a rollback tick that happens, I believe, 20 times a second. And so basically all of the game logic, instead of being run in process or physics process, is being run in that rollback tick. But that means that things like updating the hand position here is going to be laggy. So, since I want to, let me think. Since I want to duplicate this hand position across all the clients, I probably do want to have that synchronized over the network. So I'm going to need to interpolate that. So basically, if I'm moving the mouse like this, I want that to be reflected on that version of the client on the other screen. Hello, Abo, welcome back. Yeah, this is basically it, what you're seeing. This is basically what you're seeing. That's all that's been done so far. And obviously, I need to get the tax and this stuff working. So for today's stream, what I'm going to try to do is synchronize the attacks to some extent, and then also maybe get some enemies, like some basic enemies that can be hit in place. I think that's going to be really nice. And yeah, let's go ahead and do it. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to probably synchronize the, let's see, and sprite. I probably want to synchronize what is actually being moved here. So in this state machine, state normal, weapon root. So I think I just want to synchronize this weapon root here. So rollback synchronizer in here. Do I need it to be a rollback synchronizer? Because there's also a state synchronizer here. I'm still not sure when I want to use the rollback synchronizer versus the state synchronizer. I wonder, I might as well just use the rollback synchronizer for now. So state properties. Maybe not actually. Let me try state synchronizer sharp. Properties. So I want to do weapon scale / weapon root global transform. Is this gonna work? Okay, anyway. So this weapon root, so I'm not gonna do too much stuff with the state yet because I need the, there's a rewindable state machine that's designed to work with network rollback, and typical state machines don't work with network rollback for a variety of reasons, but there is an implementation of the rewindable state machine that I'm awaiting currently that will work with C#. So I'm not going to do too much stuff with the states here, but I do need to basically make it so that this is not happening unless the input is owned by the player. So if I do my player input component, let's see. Let's do public override, public bool. Let me think. You know what? Here's what I'll do. When the player gets created, this player input component set multiplayer authority. So let me do this. Set multiplayer authority. Public void set multiplayer authority. Peer ID. I'm gonna just do this. Set peer ID, set authority. The reason I'm doing this is because now I can go in here and I can say set multiplayer authority, peer ID, and then I can also put a public bool. Bool is owned by client is equal to, well, let's just do get and private set. And then I'll set this in here. Is owned by client is equal to peer ID is equal to multiplayer manager dot instance dot multiplayer ID. So that's going to be very easy. And then when I go into my state normal here, what I can do is these are visual properties, but I only want to update based on the mouse position here if what? If player input component dot is owned by client. Okay, I have no clue if that's going to work, but let's take a look. Hello, Apple, welcome back. Weslam, another multiplayer video. Did you fix that problem with the player's connection? I did, yeah. So I've got the players joining here. The problem is now I've got some errors. These errors are, why are there 41? But basically these errors are happening because this rollback synchronizer is trying to synchronize some properties to an RPC path that is not yet available. And so this is one of the problems with NetFox that I've discovered so far, which I'm gonna hopefully open an issue or discuss with somebody who's a maintainer of this. But there is no way to basically set which peers should receive the synchronization here. And that's a problem because if I want players to be able to join midway through, I need some time to set up the tree and like get all of the game state synchronized before I necessarily have created the player paths. So I basically need a way of saying, okay, don't send RPC calls to this peer until this peer is ready to receive them. So there's a couple of network frames here where this rollback synchronizer is trying to synchronize some properties with RPC calls before the client has these paths set up. So that's a problem, but these errors are recoverable. They're just temporary errors. So I'm going to ignore those for now. And hello to you as well. Hey, hello, Damien. Damien. Hope things are going as you expected post-launch. Yeah, I would say it's a pretty modest success. I'm almost at 1,000 sales of Gunforged, which is pretty good. Pretty good. I would say for my first major commercial release and not even a week away or a week out from launch, I would say that's pretty good. Did you solve the problem of yesterday? Yes, I did. I just explained that. So, but I'm happy to answer any further questions on that. What does override do? Where, in what context? So override just tells that, like, if you're talking about here, that is just a way of redefining essentially a method. So for instance, I mean, the Godot example is not great, but a node has a base process method, and overriding it means that I'm going to redefine how the process method works in this class, and it's not going to call the node base process unless I do base.process like this with the delta value. So hello, Dusty Doug, or Dusty Dog. Sorry, I have another viewer named Doug, and I get his name wrong all the time too. But yeah, welcome. Great to see you here. It was great chatting with you on Discord as well. Good morning, Splat. Bashar, any reason why you prefer VS Code or Visual Studio for C#? I've just always used VS Code basically. I used it at my job when I was full-time software engineer. I like how it feels. It feels relatively lightweight compared to Visual Studio. And because I'm doing like Godot stuff, I feel like I haven't really needed like the more sophisticated aspects of Visual Studio. So, but if I were to use a more sophisticated IDE, I'd probably use Rider anyway. I just don't. Visual Studio feels really heavy to me and like really ugly. And I know that's not a good reason not to use it, but it's very cool. Yes, indeed. Hello, Neozoid. Hello, Hori Portier. Welcome, welcome. Great to see you again. Okay, so what am I doing? Oh yeah, I was gonna see if this works. So, okay, so it's not working. Let me see. It's probably not working because of why. It's probably not working because of why. I wonder if this state synchronizer is broken. Let me delete this. Okay, so it wasn't the state synchronizer, so I don't need to worry about that. If player input component is owned by client. Oh, you know what? Wait a minute. I'm still trying to wrap my head around everything. 1,000 sounds great. I hope it continues into so many more. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. Maybe I'll get to like 2,000-ish sales over the lifetime of the game within like a year or so. We'll see. We will see. So why is this not working? Player input component is owned by client. I'm just gonna throw a print in here. This might actually just be wrong. Oh, you know what? It's, let's see. Oh, am I not calling this anywhere? Oh, that would be a problem. Wait, am I seriously not calling that anywhere? I see, I see. How is that working? Oh, goodness. We're already in the weeds here. Set multiplayer. Oh. This was wrong the entire time. I'm just gonna make that the same here. Set authority peer ID. Okay, well that's gonna dramatically change some things. Let's see what happens. Host, join. Okay, all right. So you can see now that, so this is gonna be a little bit weird, but my sword is continuing to aim at my mouse for this character. The one that I'm moving is on the left screen here. I wish there was a better way to show this on stream, but so I've got this aiming at the mouse here. And you'll notice that this character on the left-hand side is no longer moving the sword in accordance with the mouse position because that input component is not owned by this client. Now this guy over here, see how the left side over here now he's aiming at his at the mouse position here. So now what I need to do is I need to find a way to synchronize that transform, which I thought that this would work, but maybe this is wrong. I should probably look up the NetFox docs here. NetFox docs. nodes, state synchronizer. I wonder if I should use a rollback synchronizer for this. I figure I probably don't need to, but synchronize a state from the node's authority to other peers. Then run logic that only runs on the server. State is synchronized to the clients by state synchronizer nodes. Properties are recorded for each ticks on the node's authority, usually of the server, and broadcast to other peers. Property paths. Okay, let's see. Maybe I specified the property path wrong. Input aim. I think I would have... Oh, wait. Make sure to call process settings if you need to change properties during runtime. Do I need to call process settings on it? Maybe I'll try that. When to use the state synchronizer and multiplayer synchronizer. Yeah, let's see. I want to use the NetFox stuff as much as possible so I can benefit from... Let's see. Those errors appear to be NetFox sharp related. Let's see. These ones. Yeah, so I think I know what's happening here, Dusty Dog. So I explained this a little bit early in the stream, but I'll go ahead and re-explain it because it's I think it's kind of important. So what's happening here is so the way that my game is going to go, I need players to be able to join the game as it's happening. And I think what's happening here is that a client, so the way that I've got the code set up is that when I click on the join button in the main menu, it's creating the client right there. And that client is being connected before the scene changes. And so what's happening is the rollback synchronizer is trying to send RPC calls to a path that hasn't been created yet. And so basically what I need in the rollback synchronizer is some way of like excluding peers that should receive the synchronization, that should receive the RPC calls. I basically need a way of saying don't synchronize to these peers until they're ready. My understanding is that the multiplayer synchronizer Godot node has this functionality, multiplayer synchronizer, where you can set the visibility, which I guess is just a way of setting which peers receive the RPC calls. I think that's what it is. I haven't used this get visibility, but based on the issues that I was reading on GitHub, I think that this is what this does. So you can add a visibility filter callable, and my understanding is that for every peer, you can return whether that peer should receive the RPC or not. And I think that that is lacking in the rollback synchronizer. So it's trying to send these RPCs to the client, even though the client has not yet finished setting up the scene tree. It should already work that way. Okay, interesting. Okay, well, maybe there is an issue here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is, though. If I were somehow able to... Yeah, I think what I'd have to do is... Well, I'll probably have to do some more, because maybe there's something else going on here, but... Yeah, I think the error is pretty clear. It's trying to send an RPC to a path that doesn't exist, which it sends like a handful of errors, 40 errors, but that's just until the scene tree gets configured here, and then it stops erroring. So I'm pretty sure that's what the error is related to, but yeah. Visibility would be great though, for sure. Hello, Jam Up. Just joined. Are you using multiplayer spawner to sync the player spawns? I'm using NetFox, which provides functionality analogous to the multiplayer spawner. Well, I guess no, that's wrong. I am creating the players myself with my own code, but the synchronization stuff is analogous to the Godot synchronization, but I'm printing yes a bunch of times. I should probably stop doing that. NetFox is great so far, though. I'm still trying to wrap my head around how I'm expected to use it, but I'm getting there slowly after rereading the docs a bunch of times and doing some experimentation. The big thing is like which I mentioned earlier is the state machines, trying to get the state machines to work, which I'm gonna have to use a different state machine implementation. So I'm gonna have to say goodbye to my delegate state machine, but that's fine. Anyway, so now I need to figure out why this state synchronizer isn't working. So weapon scale, weapon root, global transform. That is not being... Oh, I was going to try calling process settings on it. The docs don't say that I need to do that unless I'm changing properties, but maybe that's just like a state synchronizer. And then if I do state synchronizer dot process settings, I may just have to do this as part of the setup for these synchronizers every time. But we'll see. We will see. Join, join. Okay, no, it's not. Let's see. So there's no errors in those logs. These are the same errors that I was looking at earlier. So there's nothing new there. So does the state synchronizer maybe not work with the rollback synchronizer? Let me try something else. Yeah, maybe I'll try this. I'll try adding this property to the rollback synchronizer. Let's delete that. Oops, that's gonna error. Okay, so yeah, so now the synchronization of the hand positions... Oh wait, it's not working. Wait a minute. It is working on the client, but not on the host. Hold on, I confused myself by reversing the order of the windows. Oh wait, here we go. Oh, maybe that was related to that error. Let's just find out. So host, join. Okay, yeah. What is going on here? So the hand positions are being synchronized on the client that joined, but the instance that is operating as the client and the server, this is not being synchronized. Let me go back to the docs here real quick. Rollback synchronizer does both input and state. State synchronizers for when you don't need input, only state. Yeah, so I guess what I'm trying to do is... So I'm just trying to synchronize the hand position, like the aim direction here, and I figured that's not really something that needs to be rollback enabled because it's mostly just for visual purposes. I mean, it will affect the direction of attacks. So maybe it should be in the rollback synchronizer. But maybe I should just use input for that. I don't know, does it make sense to... I'm still trying to figure out like best practices too, because I could just pass... I mean, there's a couple ways I could do it. I could synchronize the transform of the hand here, or I could send maybe like the mouse position or the aim position as an input and then derive the aim direction from that. Hello, Rin. How goes the marketing of Gunforge? It's good. Yeah, it's going great. I think it's a modest success for my first release, so I'm happy with it. It's not gangbusters. It's not, you know, it's not like I'm gonna go retire now, but no, it's gonna extend my runway by like probably 2 months or so, which is great. So that's awesome. State synchronizer is also rollback enabled. For non-rollback enabled, Godot's multiplayer synchronizer is best. Okay, I see. So you don't really want to use... You don't really want to use a state synchronizer like alongside a rollback synchronizer. I see. So I would probably want to use this for like NPC movement then, where it needs to be rollback enabled, but it's not going to have any input because the server is going to be driving the NPC. Okay, all right. I have a question regarding the pixel art. How do you handle jagged lines when you're creating characters or any stuffs? Can you expand on that question a little bit? I'm not sure what you mean by jagged lines. Do you mean like curved lines? Like drawing curved lines or... Yeah, if you want to elaborate a bit, I'd be happy to answer that. Correct, okay. Gotcha, I gotcha. Thank you, Dusty Dog. Very much appreciate that. Thanks for hopping in the stream, by the way, too, and helping me out with this, helping me think through this stuff. It's greatly appreciated. I think I can tell that this NetFox stuff is very powerful. It's just, yeah, I got to figure out the ins and outs of it. I'm not a Steam user, so I don't have the option to play it, but it looks great. Oh, okay. Yeah, I have to think about making it available on other platforms. Okay, so you're talking about curved lines. Yeah, I mean, there's some like rules to follow. Typically, when you're making a curve, you want to make it symmetrical. Honestly, like you can look up like some of the rules on YouTube, how to draw curved lines and stuff. But honestly, the way that I approach it is just basically like I just look at the curve and like, does it look weird? And if it looks weird, then I try to change the contours of it a little bit until it looks fine. But typically, like if you're drawing an even curve, you want it to have symmetry. So that means that, you know, I don't know how to explain it well, but like the bottom half of the curve should have the same sort of number of pixels and expansion outward as the top half of the curve. It's basically like symmetry is the thing that you're looking for. And sometimes if you're drawing a curve that's not symmetrical, then it really just comes down to, does that look weird or not? And it's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just something you have to kind of play with, I think. Hello, Ariane, welcome back. Great to see you again. So, okay, so we're getting there. I want to implement some enemies, but I got to figure out why is the hand aim position not being set here. Obviously I have to fix the attack too. So you can see that both of the hands on this screen are moving. But this one is not. So the client, everything is updating correctly in terms of the hand position, but the server, only the server's player is updating. Interesting. Let me try something else. Project, let's see, debug, customize, run instances. Let's do 3. Host, join. So same thing if I join here. Yeah, so that's weird. All the clients, oh no, this one is not working either. What is going on? Okay, so those hand positions are not being synchronized. Yeah, I wonder if it'd be better to do, let me think. I'm gonna try something. I'm not sure if I want to stick with this, but I'm gonna try public vector 2 mouse position. I'm just gonna try synchronizing this. Oh, this is not a node 2D, so I need to do owner as node 2D. Get global mouse position vector 2.0. So we'll do that, and then we'll roll back synchronizer. Let's do player input component mouse position. Let's get rid of this synchronization here. And then in the player state machine, we're going to take this, and instead of referencing the global mouse position, we're going to get the player input component.mouse position. This might have to change to be more responsive, but let's see if that works. Do you use a mouse or a pen? I use a mouse for all the pixel art, yeah. I think that you need to add some visual cue to differentiate the server from client, maybe change the background color. Yeah, that will happen eventually. For now, I'm just using the top left window is always the server. That's just the way I'm going to handle it for now. Okay, so that's basically functionally no different. This property is still not synchronizing. What am I doing wrong here? What am I doing wrong? I am doing one thing different than the docs, which is I'm not awaiting a process frame in here. I don't think that's going to make a difference because I think the point of that, there's a docs section that said to process the settings. I think that, I actually don't remember why the await was there. But anyway, let's try it. Get tree. Oh wait. To signal. Get tree. Scene tree dot signal name dot process frame. I don't think that's going to work, but we'll see. Wow, you can do nullables in Godot, C#, nice. Never thought about that. But C# is C#, right? Yes, exactly. Since I started working with Kotlin, I love nullables. Yeah, nullables are awesome. Oh, what happened? Interesting. I should probably read that error. Oh well. Okay, yeah, so I don't know why that's not synchronizing. Why is that position not working? Yeah, I think there's a whole bunch of... I think that... My hunch is that this are related to these RPC locations not existing, but I don't know why it would be fine. This mouse position, movement vector. Why is it fine synchronizing the movement? Oh, you know what? Well, let me think. Oh yeah, I don't know how this works well enough yet to figure this out. So it's synchronizing the movement. Why is it not synchronizing the mouse position? Am I doing... Let me think. Let me think. Maybe there's something wrong with my logic here. It could be possible that... if I'm not running on the server, I'm going to print player input component dot mouse position. That's not what I wanted to do, because it's working on the client. What I essentially want to say is, if multiplayer manager is server and player input component.get multiplayer authority is not equal to multiplayer manager.instance.multiplayer ID. So if we're on the server and this state normal is being called for the other player, so this is just I just want to see what that ends up printing. For Gunforge, how much did you prep for controller support? Or does Godot make it pretty easy? Impressive how fast you got that in. Yeah, it was relatively difficult. Oh, we got it here. Could not find type network clocks in the current scope. I don't know why that's happening. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So that is working. Oh, wait. Did I do it wrong again? Host, join. Oh, you know what? Maybe I'm misunderstanding something here. Looks like input logic, the host moves the client sword based on mouse position, not just based on client input. I think, well, the problem is I only have one mouse, right? So both windows, both clients are going to be pointing at the mouse. Let me think. Is the Z-index not working properly? I thought the different screens, the Z-index was different for players. I think it was different for a while. I don't have Z-index, like the rendering order in place yet for the characters, if that's what you mean. So the input logic, the host moves the client sword based on mouse position, not just based on client input. Hold up. This is the client here. So the server version is working correctly, I think. This is my, oops. This is my client, my pure client over here. That's not the server. So you can see the top left window. Its hand is moving correctly. But if I go to this one, it's only working on the server side, but not on the client side. So there's something wrong here. Wait a minute. So rollback tick. The movement is working. The server does not update his input for sword. If that was the case, it wouldn't be working on the server side, right? The server's not synchronizing its hand position or mouse position over to the clients, but it's working fine on the server side. Like this guy right here that I'm moving is the server, and the top left window is the server. So it's working here, and it's referencing this player input component, mouse position. I'm trying to print here. Yeah, I did add a third player. It's not working with a third player either. There's something wrong here. I don't know why. Player input component, get multiplayer authority. So basically what I'm trying to do here is say for the client that is not the server and for the player input component that is not owned by that client. So in other words, target the server client. Oh my gosh, this is getting so confusing. Target the server client, print that mouse position. But this is never... This is never being called. Is my state machine not running in the rollback tick here for the client? gd.print. Let's do print s. Multiplayer manager.is server. Multiplayer manager.instance.multiplayer ID. Okay, so this rollback tick is being called, yeah, so, oh, you know what? Let's do this. Player input. This is so sloppy, but that's fine. Get multiplayer authority.
Welcome home, Columbia. Beautiful, beautiful. Discovery's 4 computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions. Liftoff of mission 41B, the first flight of the orbiter Discovery, and the shuttle has cleared the tower.
Discovery Houston, trim to ATO.
Nice to be in orbit.
I see.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Okay, so my mistake is thinking that this state machine runs on all of the player objects for the client, but that's not true. So the rollback tick, it looks like what's happening is the rollback tick is called for all the clients on the server side. So that's what this true, so that's server. This is the server's peer ID, and then this is the peer ID of the connected player, but then this is the peer ID of itself. So it's processing that rollback tick for both. But when we're not the server, it's only doing the rollback tick for itself. So this state machine update is only being called for the client that owns the input authority. So that is the reason why those that weapon position is not being updated for the clients that are connected. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so that's the part that I was missing. So given that this state machine update is not going to run for all of the players on a client connection, that means that I need to, yeah, I can't synchronize the mouse position, or I guess I could. Maybe I should do both. I should synchronize the mouse position and then synchronize the global transform of the weapon root here. Is that what I need to do? So let's see. Weapon scale / weapon root global transform. I think that's what I need to do. Okay, all right, that makes sense. Should you have a false 1.1 version 2 as the player's owned by the host and on the client's version? Yeah, so that's what I thought, but apparently that's not the way that NetFox works. So yeah, just to reiterate, so this rollback tick, so it's going to be called on the server for all of the clients. So that means that the server is going to update the state machine for each client. But this rollback tick for any non-server clients is only going to happen for the player object, the player node that is owned by the client. That seems to be the way that it's working. So the problem was that this state machine update is never being called for the server's player on the client instance, if that makes sense. So that's why I need to synchronize the player's like mouse position, which I may change to like aim direction or something instead of mouse position, but we'll leave it as mouse position for now. So the player needs to send its mouse position over to the server, which will then replicate across all the clients. But then the visuals need to be updated as well, because none of the clients are running that visual update code. Now I wonder if there's a way I could get that to work. You know, like I don't know if I need the state machine should probably only contain gameplay logic, but anything that's display related, I can probably take this out. So if I wanted to not synchronize the global transform of that weapon root, I could probably put that into the process method here using that player input, because that's going to be called for every object. And then I can remove this global transform synchronization, save some network bandwidth, and that should be the same, that should have the same effect, I think. Yeah, okay. So now all I'm doing is sending the player mouse input over to all the clients, but then the clients in the process method are updating the weapon root lookat. Now this is going to have to behave differently, I think, for the controlling client, or the client that owns the player, because I want this to be responsive, but I'll figure out how to make that better later on. Now it's still looking choppy because that player mouse position is only updated every network tick. So I think what I can do now is I should be able to add that to the tick interpolator, right? Oh wait, no. I can't interpolate that. I can't interpolate. Can I interpolate input? Am I allowed to do that? I'm probably not allowed to do that, but I'm going to try. Player input component. If this works, that's going to be funny. I love doing multiplayer networking. Yeah, it's pretty fun. I mean, it's definitely challenging. You have to think about the game in a different way, for sure. Yeah, that's not working. Okay. So wait, do I want to... Maybe I do want to synchronize that global transform of the weapon root here then. Maybe I do want to do that. So then I can interpolate it. And then that means that I don't need... I'd have to put this back. I guess it doesn't matter. Let's see. It's my favorite part of game dev, whether game dev, full stack backend, anything, love RTC. Yeah, it's fun. That's one of the things we're working on. Rollback tick doesn't run if the client already has state for a given tick. Oh, I see. Oh, okay. Okay. So is the way that I'm approaching it the proper way of handling that then? Which is basically just to assume that the rollback tick is only going to run for the owning client rather than the other clients. Hello, Tomohawk, welcome back. The server told us the state. We don't need to calculate the state ourselves as a performance measure. Gotcha, okay, okay. Good morning, Christopher. Thank you, Tomohawk, I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so let's see. So now, yes, look, now I've got nice and smooth aiming. I don't know how well you can tell on the stream, but it was rather choppy before because it was only updating, you know, every network tick, which I believe, my understanding is that I think it's 20 hertz network. I could probably actually check that, can't I? NetFox, general. Oh, 30 hertz. So there's 30 ticks. So basically it was running at half the frame rate of 60 FPS. But now with the interpolation, it's nice and smooth. Okay. All right. Well, I'm itching to get into some combat here. So I think there are some errors here that I need to figure out how to deal with, but I'll do that later. Yeah, I want to see if I can get some combat working, because that's gonna help me explore some other parts of NetFox, like the state synchronizer. So instead of using a rollback synchronizer, using the state synchronizer and driving the creatures or the characters with the server. Rollback tick and multiple clients is a little bit of a mess to explain with YouTube's limited messaging. Yeah, I understand that. I understand that. Last night I was struggling with input actions, and now I have to ask you someone here why Godot thought the input event wasn't an action. Oh, interesting. Yeah, what kind of action was it? Do you remember? So let's see. I'm going to commit what I have here. Let's see. Okay. Player synchronization work. Cool. All right, so let's create an enemy. I still don't have a collision shape on this guy, but that's fine. New, whoops, scene, new scene. Character body 2D. I'm gonna call this, I don't know, test enemy, I guess. Game object, entity. Test enemy. We gotta do some art. Gotta do some art here. Player.asprite. Let's do test enemy. Okay. And we're just going to change this to be red. I don't have that many red colors in here, actually. Interesting. Oh, that's supposed to be darker. That's supposed to be darker. I don't have a darker red, really? Oh, I guess that works. Okay, this... What am I doing? It doesn't need to be perfect, but... Oh. I don't need those. Okay, that's why I was confused. There we go. That ought to work. Try to find a good color. Might as well just use the same color here. Oops. Actually. Okay. All right. Anyway, that spent way too much time on that, but that's all right. Test enemy. Okay, all right. Visuals. Oops. Oops. Sprite 2D. Test enemy. Alrighty. Let's see if we can get this guy getting smacked around. Cool. The rollback system is based on a server authoritative design, right? Yes, that's correct. Just axis-bound action and it wasn't triggering. Oh. I can see the input event and the raw axis data. That's interesting. You're planning to upload Gunforge soundtrack on Spotify. I was not planning on doing that, but maybe if I get enough requests, I might do that. A lot of people said the Gunforge soundtrack was awesome. The dead zone shouldn't have been a problem because I wasn't checking is pressed. Yeah, that's weird. I'm assuming you ruled out that it's a controller. Oh wait, yeah. You said you saw the input event and raw access data, yeah. Is it possible that there was like a control node grabbing focus or something and intercepting that event? Or it just wasn't recognizing it as an action? Like you could see the raw event stuff, but it just, Godot didn't detect it as an action that you had configured? What are you doing, bud? Bam! We have a visitor. Say hi. Nope, okay. When I grow up, I want to be smart like you. I'm trying, man. I don't know if I'm that... I don't know if I'm that smart. Some days I really wonder, you know? Some days. If you're not regularly asking yourself, like, am I just absolutely dumb? I don't know if you're a real person. Anyway, so what do I want to do here? So there's a couple of things that I need. Thank you, Weslam. He's laying on my arm right now. which is not great because I'm trying to use it. Oops. So I need a couple of things in here. So big thing is I need to test hitboxes and whatnot. So let's do an area 2D. Let's put this on the collision mask. I'm just going to use mask of 2. Let's add a collision shape. Shape here. Okay. That's fine. Node. Private. Area 2D. Area 2D. Public override void on area entered. Public, no, that's not right. I was mixing two things at once. Override void ready. Area 2D dot area entered plus equals on area entered. Area 2D other area. Okay. And we're just going to do gd.print. Yo, fam. Okay. So now what I need to do is, I actually have some stuff to figure out with the players still too, but that's fine. I'm going to create a new scene. Let's do hitbox component. Actually, this needs to change to an area 2D. I would reuse the hitbox component from Gunforged, but I kind of want to start fresh. So this hitbox component, we're going to change the layer to be 2. So a lot of people ask the question, like, doesn't it make more sense to, because the way that Godot works is that the layer is the collision layer that it exists on, and the mask is the layer that it looks for collisions from. So basically, if I had mask of 2 on, it would be detecting collisions against anything that has layer 2 configured. So that means that with the hitbox component, if I'm only setting a layer, I believe that this means that it becomes basically incapable. If there's no mask, it becomes incapable of listening to on-area entered signals. And that's a new change in Godot 4 because I don't believe it used to work that way. I believe that in Godot 3 it used to be that both areas would emit the area entered signal. But I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is how it works in Godot 4 now. So basically, this is not going to detect any area entering. And people say, well, doesn't it make sense for the hitbox component to detect area entering? And maybe, but the way that I handle it usually is the entity that is being hit by the hitbox is responsible for handling the hit. And that makes everything much more sensible because you don't know necessarily how something needs to react to a hitbox component collision. So if you were trying to handle the hitbox detection in your hitbox component, it becomes a little bit unwieldy to figure out, wait, okay, so this thing that I'm detecting here, how does it need to handle the collision? Makes much more sense to pass that responsibility off to the hurt box or the thing that's receiving the collision, and it can just deal with that collision however it needs to. So that's kind of the way that I set up my systems here. I try to push all of the handling responsibility as close to the entity as possible, and then the hitbox component then just becomes an agnostic, like, here's a dangerous shape. If you collide with me, it's your responsibility to figure out what to do with that information. And that just makes the code a little bit nicer, I think. So that's the way I set it up. And so let's see, hitbox component. So obviously I'm going to need a way of controlling the collision shapes, but for now I'm just going to hard code one. We'll just do a 40 by 40. Okay, and then the player, I'm just gonna do something really sloppy here for now. Show in file system, copy path, player. Bam. So I'm just going to load that here. I'm not going to do any fancy things yet. So now the enter state attack, this base weapon attack. Actually, you know what I should do? I should move this into the base weapon here. Yeah, I'll do that instead. It doesn't need to be perfect. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say, bar hitbox scene dot instantiate or null area 2D, or I guess I want instance or free. Get tree dot root dot add child hitbox dot global position is equal to global position of the weapon. Obviously, that's going to need to be way more sophisticated in the future. But the question now is, I got to synchronize this. Do it? No, I don't. I don't need to worry about the hitboxes being spawned in the clients because the server is going to be the only one handling the collisions. So the clients are actually not going to be spawning any hitboxes at all. They're just going to be receiving the player input and playing the animations and hit effects as necessary. But everything else is going to exist on the server side. So I need to figure out, basically what I need to figure out is a way of synchronizing the player attack states or sending the attack input, which that's where the new state machine is going to come in. But I'm going to see if I can get it to work with the state machine I have, at least for testing purposes. So yeah, we'll have to figure out how to do that then. Yeah, because this enter state attack is never happening. There's an unhandled input here, but that needs to be moved. So it's on a script on a control node, and it was getting the raw data, but yeah, not registering as an action. I was also trying to pull input get vector with the action names and nothing. Interesting. The class type of the action is input event joypad motion. Yeah, some of the input stuff is still weird in Godot. I don't know. I had some analogous issues or similar issues when I was doing controller support. Hello, Polaris. Welcome back. Not that exact issue, but some. So I think what I need to do here to send this attack is I probably just need to call an RPC. No, let me think. I need to get this to work with the rollback. So I need to synchronize the input. How do I... Here's a question. Okay, so basically this needs to go away. And this needs to go away. Basically what I need to do in my state normal here is I need some way of saying if player input component dot is attack pressed or something, then I need to do state machine change state attack. So that's basically what I need to do. Now the question is, how am I actually going to accomplish that? So on before tick loop, I'm assuming that if I just do this, this is not going to work. Public bool is attack pressed. If I do this, is attack pressed is equal to input dot get action, or is action just pressed. What did I call it? Action attack. This is not going to work. And the reason this is not going to work is because this input may have already been handled, or this, well, is action just pressed. This is going to be false by the time this on before tick loop happens, but let's go ahead and try it anyway. I might be pleasantly surprised. though I'm pretty sure that what I'm suspecting will happen will happen. So I think I know how I can fix it, but yeah, so I'm clicking and sometimes it handles the click. I would guess that's when the network loop kind of coincides with whatever is happening in the input, but most of the time it doesn't work. So how do I send a quick action press? So what I can do, I guess, is do public. I think what I need to do is just store that is attacked state. It is attack press state. And then clear it. So I need to make it sticky somehow. I think that's probably what I need to do. Let's see, public override void process. Let's say private bool is attack let's do is attack pressed. I'm gonna call it sticky because that's a very good that's a very good name. So I'm gonna say, okay, so if input.is action just pressed action attack, we're gonna say is action pressed equals true and is attack pressed sticky equals true. Then in this is attack pressed, we're gonna say is attack pressed sticky, and then is attack pressed sticky equals false. So essentially what we're doing is we're setting that is attack pressed to true immediately. And what that should do is that should update the client side state so that it feels like an instantaneous input, because it's going to be happening on the process frame instead of on the 30 hertz loop that the network is doing. But then this is attack press sticky, that's going to remain there until this on before tick loop, this gather input essentially happens. It's going to use that value of is attack press sticky for is attack pressed, and then it's going to reset that. So basically what this is going to do is just basically keep this value as true until that next network loop happens. But it's also going to be instantaneously responsive on the client side. That's at least how I'm hoping it will work. We'll see. Okay, so now wait. Oh, okay, so I just need to add. What? Okay, so I just need to add. There's a couple of things going on here. Set process is owned by client. So we don't want it to process if it's not owned by the client. So we'll just disable processing. That should prevent both from attacking when I do that. Okay, it didn't work. Why didn't it work? What? Never had this problem before. Oh yeah, the controller problem. Hello, Earth from the skies. How's it going today? First time around here. Welcome. Great to see you. Yeah, it's going well. How are you doing? Just trying to work through some multiplayer stuff, which I'm not entirely sure what's going on here. Why is this set process is owned by client? Do I still have some old code in here that I forgot to delete? No. On before tick loop. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot to add this to the player input component. Or no, to the rollback synchronizer. Yeah. Player input component dot is attack pressed. That's probably what I was missing. There we go. Okay. So now only the server can attack for itself, and the client can attack for itself. Now you'll notice that, let's see. So yeah, what I need to do here is, I'm wary about making. There's a bunch of problems with my state machine with this implementation, but that's fine because I'm going to be moving to a different implementation soon, I think. So I'm not going to worry too much about the state. But what I do want to do is I need to spawn that hitbox when the attack state is entered. So this is the... This is basically display stuff. This is animation, whatnot. But in here, if multiplayer manager is server, we'll go ahead and do that. Wait a minute. Is this working? Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I should still see... There's a state that I need to keep track of, right? Oh man, hold on a second. I should be seeing that state transition happen on the other players. I should be seeing that. Oh yeah, it works here. So you can see that I'm operating the client, the pure client, and the attack is working. But on the server, it's not sending its attack state because I need to... Huh. Yeah, I need to synchronize that animation somehow. Yeah, it might not be worth trying to get this done while I might be switching over to that other state machine, so I think that's mostly just a state machine problem. But it works for the client at least, so you can see that I'm moving around and swinging. Anyway, so now if I go to editor, let's see, debug, visible collision shapes. So I'm going to turn on visible collision shapes, and what I should see is that those hurtbox components are only being created on the server, see? So even if I'm moving around as a client and I'm hitting, it's only being created on the server in a purely server authoritative way. And so now let's go ahead and see. So more combat work. Yeah, multiplayer is very difficult. I mean, honestly, I was kind of torn. I mean, I want to do server authoritative because I think that it's going to be the best experience for everyone, but I was tempted to move to like a pure... There's a couple of different ways you could do it. Like you could do peer-to-peer, which basically would... What I would do is I would give authority to the clients to basically send the server where their position and their movement and their state is, which would simplify things quite a bit. But I think that that would have negative implications for like lag compensation. So I think this is an overall better solution, but it is quite a lot to wrap your mind around. There's a lot to keep in mind. The good news is that I think that the players are going to be the most complicated things to get working in the multiplayer system because of all the rollback stuff that needs to be handled and the state machines and all that stuff. I guess the the enemies are going to be, let me think. The enemies should be easier because the clients aren't simulating the enemies. They're just going to be receiving the updates in terms of like the position of the enemies and their animations and stuff. So I think the enemies are going to be, yeah, I think everything else is going to be easier because RPCs are pretty easy to get a handle on, and doing everything with an RPC would be very easy, but you don't get things like lag compensation and you have to deal with latency and whatnot. So the reason there's all this complexity here is because I'm trying to build this from the ground up such that it becomes a smooth experience for everyone, even if they have, let's say, a less than ideal network connectivity. So, but it is very difficult. But if you were going to make like an asynchronous game or something that's not real-time updates, like a card game or something, it would certainly be a lot easier. Anyway. Hope you'll do the new state machine on stream. It would be very interesting for me, at least. Well, Dusty Dog, who is one of the people working on the NetFox Sharp, is going to be working on a wrapper for the rewindable state machine. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. And hopefully I can use that. Okay, so what am I doing? I need to, yeah, so we're gonna add the enemy in, and the enemy is going to need to be synchronized across all the players as well. So there's gonna be a bunch of interesting things to do there as well. But let's see what we've got on here. Not sure how long you're streaming, but it might be ready by the end. Well, interesting. We'll see. We will see. All right, but I am going to, I'm going to go take a quick break. I need to get a refill on my drink and whatnot. So give me just 2 minutes to do that. In the meanwhile, can you please check out the links in the description below? Those are all the ways that you can support me. I've just recently released Gunforged, which is available right now on Steam. There's still a 20% launch discount happening. So if you're interested in those kinds of games, you can pick that up to get a discount and also to support me. You can also pick up one of my Udemy courses. The links for those are in the description below. There are no multiplayer courses yet, but those courses will teach you how to build complete games in the Godot engine. Yeah, so give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back and we'll continue on. We're going to start working on getting an enemy synchronized next. All right, I'm back. Thank you for your patience. All right, let's get right into it. So there's a question here now, which I have, which is a question that goes something like this. How in the world am I going to synchronize the enemies? So again, I'm trying to build this in mind, or with the idea in mind that players are going to be able to join midway through the game. And so if there are already enemies on screen, how is that going to happen? Now, it might not be something worth thinking about just yet, but at the same time, I want to try to build it from the ground up as correctly as possible so that I can ease some of the development down the road, assuming that everything goes well. So I'm just gonna create a method in here called spawn enemy, and this is gonna happen only on the server. I'm gonna probably have some sort of enemy manager at some point that will handle the spawning of enemies and whatnot. But for now, and I don't know to what extent I should be using like multiplayer synchronizers alongside NetFox either. That's something that I'm gonna have to be thinking about. But for now, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna create an enemy on the server. And I'm going to see what happens. So spawn enemy. Lurk, yes, Neozoid. Thank you for lurking. We love our lurkers, don't we, folks? So let's see. Camera 2D. So let me think. Yeah. Var enemy is equal to resource preloader dot instance or free instance scene or null enemy dot global position is equal to, we'll just spawn the enemy here, add child enemy. Okay, so we got the test enemy here, and oh, I'm gonna need to do this, I think. Force readable name true. I don't know if that's gonna do anything, but let's see. So obviously I'm gonna need to create it on the client as well. But let's see here. Okay, yeah, so we got an error because that's not been created on the client. Now the question is, do I want to use a multiplayer spawner in conjunction with this to handle the automatic creation of those things? So if I go to my main and I add a multiplayer spawner, spawn path, auto spawn list. I don't know if this is a good idea, but we'll see. Okay, so that's not working. Spawn path. Path to the spawn route. Spawnable scenes are added as direct children are replicated to other peers. Okay. Did I not do that? Oh, is the remote scene tree? Let's see. What? Why are there two? Okay, let me do this. Debug, customize run instances. Let's just go down to one. I just want to make sure that that's being add it to the scene tree in a sensible way here. What in the world? Is it creating 2 player nodes for the same? Huh? Why are there 2 player nodes? And why is there no... Something's wrong. Something is wrong. What in the world? Why is it creating 2 player nodes and no... Well, I mean, it's not creating an enemy because I just commented that out, but why? Create players. Do I have like an old connection hanging around or something? Oh. Wait, no. Do I have an old connection somehow hanging around? Is that what's happening? Why is it creating 2 players with 2 different IDs? Oh, of course that didn't work. This is bizarre. Oh, is it the multi? No. For each var peer ID in blank gd.print peer ID. I wonder if I have like, no, that doesn't make any sense. What is going on? This is so weird. It's definitely Godot doing some stupid S. I used input parse event and sent a virtual action. My code handled it. Oh, Godot internals that are not processing the hardware input as an action. Do you happen to have some kind of like non-standard non-standard controller, or is it just like an Xbox controller? Okay, I don't know what's going on. The remote scene tree is not correct, so I'm going to go ahead and open this up again. Is it very difficult to add multiplayer to an existing single player project? I would say generally yes, and especially true if your project is larger. I added multiplayer to Globins, which is a small jam game that I made, and it took about a week of work, and that's just a jam game. So I would say that if you want multiplayer, you probably should do it from the start rather than trying to retrofit it in later, because that's just it's gonna be a massive effort. Again, all depending on how big your game is, though. Okay, let's see. Maybe the remote scene tree was just bugged or something. Okay, yeah, the remote scene tree was bugged. Okay. Phew, I was worried that that was just wrong. Okay, so we got the test enemy. Cool. Now the question is, why is that not... Why is that multiplayer spawner not taking effect? Does the multiplayer spawner not... let me try this. This is going to be very, very weird, but get tree dot create timer 5 seconds dot timeout. So it may be the case that the multiplayer spawner is not synchronizing the initial state. So I might need to handle that myself. And that should be, I don't know. Is that going to be easy or not? Well, we'll see. So if I go back to debug, customize run instances here. Let's see if it works if I put a delay in there. So I click, oops, that's a bug. Host, join. No, it didn't work. Why did it not work? Okay. Maybe the multiplayer spawner cannot refer to its own parent. So let's go ahead and just add a node 2D with entities layer here. Multiplayer spawner, let's do entities. Wonder if there's some weirdness about it not working with a parent, or it can't itself be a child of the root. That may be what's going on there. So it's called we do a little bit of figuring things out. I just missed a phone call. I hope it wasn't important. Let's see. Right, so I need and I'll just spawn all the players and entities as well. So entities.add child player, entities.add child enemy. All right, let's see if that works. Oh, this is annoying. Debug, customize run instances, instance index equals 1. I have some custom code in place to look at the command line arguments, and then based on the instance index, change the position of the window. It didn't work again. Let's take a look at the errors. No errors related to the enemy. Is there a way to access? Oh, wait a minute. You know what? It might be working. I bet the enemy's position... Hold on a second. I bet the enemy is there. It's just its position is not being synchronized now. So it's at 0, 0. Let's take this camera. Yeah, there he is. So he was being spawned. Okay. Okay. So his position is not being updated. So let's see if I can do that. Test enemy. So I got the state synchronizer. Let's go ahead and add just let's just do global transform. And I'll keep the delay in there for now. And we'll see if it works. It did not work. But now I'm curious to see if I remove this delay, if it's going to work here. Is this for local or online multiplayer? It's for online multiplayer. Okay, so this is not working. This game will be playable solo. So does the multiplayer synchronizer not synchronize the current state? It only synchronizes when new enemies get added? Oh man, okay. All right. So, yeah, this is going to be a problem. automatically replicates spawnable nodes. So I'm guessing this only happens when a new node gets added and it doesn't synchronize anything to anyone joining mid-game. So why would I even want to use this then? Like, if it's not going to support working mid-game, then I might as well just roll my own spawn synchronization, which is kind of unfortunate, but I kind of have an idea for what I could do here. So what I might do is I might just create like a group here. This is going to be very sloppy, but I just want to test it. So if I add a new group, let's make it a global group, I guess. Spawn synchro. Spawns, we'll just add it to a group called spawn synchronized. And then in main, what am I gonna do? So I call create players. So I may actually end up wanting to, let's see. Eventually, I'd probably want to get this all down to one RPC call, but it's fine. RPC ID from peer. Let's do private void synchronize spawned enemies. Maybe I should just become a software engineer again and stop doing game dev. Oh man, this is tough. I think the good news is though that once I get some frameworks in place for doing all this synchronization, I think it will be relatively straightforward to get everything working, but who knows? Oops, broke my stream a little bit. That's fine. As a software engineer, sometimes I want to quit and just make indie games. Yeah, I mean, making indie games that are not multiplayer enabled is pretty fun, but I mean, this is fun. It's just, it requires a little bit of work. I wonder if I should just do a bunch of... I don't know if this is a good idea, but... I wonder if I should just do this. This is probably going to be bad, but let's see. Var node in get tree, get children, or get nodes in group. I'll use a magic string for now. Node.name. So we'll send the scene file path. This is probably terrible, but we're going to send the scene file path and the name over. String path, string name. Var child is equal to gd.load packed scene. Path.instance or free as a node. Entities.add child. And let's just do this. Child.name equals name. So obviously I'm going to need to make this work after. So if I call spawn enemy when everyone's connected, it needs to reflect everywhere, but we'll do one thing at a time. So this needs to be RPC multiplayer, not Microsoft, multiplayer API dot RPC mode dot authority. Call local. I don't think we need that. Transfer mode. What am I doing? Transfer mode is equal to multiplayer peer transfer mode enum dot reliable. Okay, so we're basically going to send an RPC call for each node in this spawn synchronized with the name and the scene file path. It's going to instantiate that and give it the same name so that the node paths, the tree structure is the same. And then hopefully that will work. I have no clue, but let's see. I have no clue, but let's see. Host, join. It did not work. I spelled that correctly, so that's good. Just make sure that that actually is being called at least once. Yep, I got that yo print in there. Okay, so that works. RPC. I'm going to rename this to ready peer, just so it's more understandable. RPC ID. Oh, I'm not sending the method name properly. Oh my gosh. Method name dot synchronize spawned enemies. There we go. That would be why it's not working. Okay, so no errors, but it's not synchronizing the state here. Is there a reason why? Do I need to... Let me look at the docs for state synchronizer again. Synchronize the state from node's authority to other peers. It's tied to the network tick loop, works well with tick interpolator. Synchronize logic that runs only on the server, for example, NPCs in your games. The NPCs are controlled fully by the server and their state is synchronized to the clients by state synchronizer nodes. So I wonder if I just did this. Let me just try something. Maybe this is the case where it's not updating. So if I do, what is it again? Rollback tick. Public void rollback tick. Velocity is equal to vector 2 dot right move and slide. Do I need to set its authority to the server? Good question. I don't think so because all nodes are automatically set to have server authority. That is the default configuration, so I shouldn't need to do that. Am I doing something wrong here? Yes, the answer is yes, but let's see. I mean, I got global transform in there. Yep, I've got state synchronizer under my target. Properties, well, it wasn't even working. Hold on a second. Velocity equals vector 2 dot right. Maybe it doesn't do a rollback tick if I don't have a rollback synchronizer. So do I just do this in the process method then? Process. Double delta, public override void. Maybe if I do that instead. Still trying to figure out how all this works, so I'm sure I'm doing something wrong. Okay, so it's moving on the server side. but it is not moving. It's not being synchronized on the client side. Can I change the remote scene tree that I'm looking at anywhere? I don't know which instance this is operating on. Well, if this is moving, this position is moving, then it would be the server. Yeah, so this is the server's remote scene tree. Okay, so I guess what I could do is join or host over here and join over here. And if I go to the remote scene tree, I can see that my test enemy is there, but its position, oh, its position is moving. Oh, yeah, because okay. All right. I don't know what I'm doing. Set process multiplayer manager.is server. So we're only going to set it to process if it's a server. But I still don't know why that global transform would not be updating. Host, join. Yeah, why is that not... There's something wrong. Okay, back to the docs. State synchronizer has to do some setup work whenever the state or the input properties change. The work is done upon instantiation if you need to change properties during runtime. Okay, I haven't changed any properties during runtime. You can change the node's authority without calling process settings again. Make sure that the authority is changed the same way in all peers to avoid discrepancies. Well, the authority is the same because it's all server. When to use state synchronizer and multiplayer synchronizer. State synchronizer record all the properties specified and broadcast them as is to all peers. Does not include visibility or delta updates. So is there a reason why this isn't working? Global transform, shouldn't that be... That should be fine, right? Tis a mystery. Let's see. Tick interpolator. I don't think the interpolator is going to help, but let's see. Could you confirm the enemy spawns on the client? Maybe print something in its ready function, if not the server. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is spawning, but I will go ahead and do that. If not multiplayer manager.is server, gd.print. Hello, jam op. Let's see if that works. I'm pretty sure it's being spawned. I just don't know why it's not being synchronized. The state synchronizer looks fine to me. Does the enemy actually spawn on the client, though? Yeah, let's see. That's a good question. Yes. Hello, jam op. So, you know what I'll do? I'll just make this super apparent. Global position plus equals, or plus equals vector2.1 times 150. So we'll move it into view on the client so we can see it as well. Because it's at 0, 0. Okay, so you can see, so top left is server. That's where the server spawned the dude. And by the way, the collisions work, so that's great. We got the yo fam print down there. And then this is where it is on the client. So it's being synchronized, it's being created on the client properly, but the synchronizer is not working. Do I want to do this? Do I want to do node private state synchronizer? State synchronizer dot process settings. I don't know if I need to do this, but I might as well remove this sharp here. Yeah, I don't know why that's not working. I guess we'll keep that print in there. Is it because I'm not, does it have something to do with these errors here? Is it like ceasing to send synchronization updates because node not found, test enemy? It happens internally. Yeah, that's what I thought. I was just wondering if maybe because of the asynchronous nature of like joining after the enemy's already been created, I was wondering if maybe just forcing that update would help, but I guess it did not. I mean, I would expect these errors to continue going if it wasn't finding the RPC path, but it is. So the state synchronizer. Let me see. I'm gonna look at this and pretend like I know what's going on. And so is it the case that it's just gonna synchronize the global transform so I can freely move it on the server and not have any issues? That should be the case, right? We can actually probably go and look at the code here. Where is it? Here's the state synchronizer. So after tick, enter tree, it's calling connect signals, which is connecting this after tick. After tick, if is multiplayer authority. Do I need to, maybe I do need to set the multiplayer authority? I thought that the multiplayer authority was going to be set to the server by default. I guess I could print that though. Oh, wait. Wait a minute. No, never mind. gd.print get multiplayer authority. Let's just see what that prints. It should be 1. Like, it's going to print several times, but it should be 1 every time on both things. Yeah, 1 and 1. Yeah, that's right. So it's always 1, so that's the multiplayer authority. Maybe you could try and use multiplayer synchronizer sync the position and see if that replicates it. Yeah, I might try that. Internally, NetFox Sharp creates a GT script node as a child, which it uses to wrap the logic. Those errors look like it's trying to do things while the nodes are readying. Shouldn't cause issues. Yeah, I figured those are like recoverable errors. Those are just temporary. Let's try a multiplayer synchronizer. Why not? And just see. So we'll sync this. Replicate on, let's just do always. Oops. There may be some conflict here. I'll just get rid of these for now. This is puzzling and bamboozling. Yeah, it's not working with Godot either. What in the heck? Why does nothing work? Okay, let's try something a little bit simpler. Okay, never mind. Okay, let's not do global transform. Let's do global position. Let's just try global position. We'll see if that works. I don't know. I have no clue what's going on. Even the Godot functionality doesn't work. I'm gonna go ahead and just fix this warning really quick, just in case. I don't think that's gonna be a thing, but that is bizarre, yeah. I'm really unsure what's going on here. So it's probably not a problem with NetFox then, if this is a problem with the Godot multiplayer synchronizer. How are you spawning them again? I'm just replicating them manually. Is that might be the problem here. So in main, it's because I want to be able to join the game midway through, but the multiplayer spawner, at least as far as I could tell, it doesn't like duplicate the spawned state for newly joined clients. So what I'm doing is I'm just, for now, getting all the nodes in this spawn synchronized group and then calling an RPC to the peer that just connected or the peer that's just ready. And I'm telling it to call this synchronized spawn enemies with the scene file path and the node name. And so in here, it's loading that scene, instantiating it, changing the name to match what's on the server, and then adding it as a child to the entities node. So the paths are all the same, at least they should be. If they weren't the same, then I would continue seeing those errors in the console, right? But yeah, I don't know. It will duplicate the node and replicate the naming, but all the synchronization of the properties will need to be handled by the synchronizer nodes. Right, yeah. So my understanding is that all I need to do is just like replicate the scene tree, right? Like I need to make sure that the nodes have the same paths across all of the clients. And then what should happen is the multiplayer synchronizers and the state synchronizers should kick in, right? And start working. Because that's essentially what I'm doing with the player. Because when a player joins late, I'm creating the player and then the synchronizers kick in. And it's actually good, like the rollback is working because you can see when I spawn a player on the client, I'm assigning it to a random position. So when I join over here, you actually see it like jitter around a little bit while it's reconciling because it has been placed at a different position than what's on the server because it's randomizing the position initially. And so that rollback synchronizer is actually taking effect by rubber banding the player back into position. But it doesn't work for the enemies for some reason. Am I doing Steam Next Fest? No, I am not. I don't have a game for Steam Next Fest yet. I will do a Steam Next Fest at some point, but not until I have a game ready to go. I think that's how it should work. Yeah, me too. So I don't know. Oh, this is my last ditch effort. Okay, I don't think these network things are relevant. No, Dusty Dog, our resident expert, says very odd, which means I'm screwed. Okay, all right. I verified, so I checked that the server, the multiplayer authority is correct. Is there something, I mean, the only other thing I can think of is that, no, this wouldn't be the case. This set process here. No, that wouldn't be the case because it's not. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how to go about debugging this. Because as far as I can tell, there's no errors. And even the Godot built-in, like, global position. Maybe if I disable the spawn on there. I don't know, I'm just gonna start toggling things and see what happens. Okay, that doesn't work. I'm so bright right now. There's a bunch of snow on the ground, so it's all reflecting into my face. The sunlight. Might actually fix that. Ah, better. Well, the only way I know for multiplayer synchronizer to not work with replicate always is different node paths. Yeah, but wouldn't that... Okay, I guess I can probably... Let's print the node paths, right? I can do that, right? So let's do this. gd.print get node path. Is it node path? Or is it path? Get path, right? Returns the node's absolute path. So let's print that and let's just make sure that it's the same on both the server and the client. Post. So we've got root main entities test enemy. Root main entities test enemy. So they're both the same path. Could not match member state synchronizer. Oh, is that... Hold on a second. Maybe that was the issue? I don't think so, but let's see. I'm going to be very salty if that was the entire issue. Actually, I wouldn't be salty because that means I would have fixed it, but nope, that was not related. So yeah, the path is the same. Root main entities test enemy. Root main entities test enemy. Maybe I'll get a reference to the multiplayer synchronizer and just print that path too. I mean, it's kind of redundant at this point. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the same. Multiplayer synchronizer. So we'll print the path to the multiplayer synchronizer. We'll see. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I see. Mm-hmm. You know, like that headache meme where it's like different types of headaches and then the full red face? That's me right now. Hello. I wanted to let you know that you made me gamble again and I lost all my gold. Sorry about it. Sorry about it. I do that all the time too. I love gambling in video games. Something so satisfying about betting all of your fake money and losing it all. Well, I don't have much of a multiplayer game if the enemies are not having their positions synchronized. I don't have much of a game. Well, you just help me find a NetFark sharp bug. I'll get a bug fix out for state synchronizer. In the interim, see if you can get multiplayer synchronizer working. Awesome, yeah, happy to help. I like experimenting with these sort of bleeding edge technologies. It's fun. I was an early adopter of Godot 3 back in the 3.0 alpha days. So I was dealing with a lot of bugs back then too, but it's fun. It's fun. But I'm very worried why this multiplayer synchronizer isn't working for the test enemy.
Discovery Houston, tram to ATO.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Let me see if I'm missing something. Okay, that's just a dock. Let's do multiplayer. Let's see if we can find a hint in here. Remote procedure calls. Okay, these are all about RPC calls, so I'm pretty sure I got that going. Modern networking, okay. I don't care about lobbies. I want multiplayer synchronizer. Where would I find it? I thought there was a docs page on that. Networking. Maybe not. I thought there was like a whole page on like how to use multiplayer synchronizers and whatnot. Guess not. I wonder if it's possible that the visibility... Is the visibility not being updated? Is that maybe the issue? Is there a way that I can get... Update visibility. That's the only thing I can think of, is that maybe it's not, maybe the visibility is not configured for that peer, right? But I don't know why that wouldn't just use all peers by default, even if they connect later, but I mean, let me just try it real quick. Multiplayer manager dot multiplayer dot instance dot multiplayer. I don't think I need to do that. I think I can just reference the multiplayer here, but peer connected plus equals on peer connected. Actually, you know what? I'll just do this. Long ID. Multiplayer synchronizer dot update visibility 0. That's really the only thing I can think of at this point, is that it's not, that peer is not in the visibility. Nope, that didn't work. Okay. I guess this needs to be... This is not going to work, but we'll see. Nope. Oh, wait. Yeah, it should be a gd.print updating visibility. I'm pretty sure that this is not the way that Godot's working, but we'll see. WebSockets, I don't think I need those. Oh, you're starting work on multiplayer. Yes. Yeah, multiplayer game is my next game up. It's being a huge pain, but you could also send the global position via RPC to all clients every physics frame and see if that works. Not ideal at all, but could work. Still no clue why synchronizer isn't working. Yeah, I'm fairly certain that an RPC call every physics frame would work. I could test that for sure, but I have a good amount of confidence that that would work. But, you know, it might be a good test. I've got nothing else to do, so update set visibility for, let's do this. Let's do a more explicit set visibility for ID true. I've got the path right, don't I? The property path. Global position, global underscore position, right? Because if I were to add an animation player, yeah, I mean, that should work. Okay, let's try, yeah, let's try. I'll just do it in the process method. It's going to be really fast, but that's fine. And this is only going to run in the server, so we can do RPC private. Let's do this. RPC mode dot authority, call local false, transfer mode. I think the transfer mode is unreliable by default, so I guess I don't need to worry about that. A private void update transform 2D transform global transform is equal to transform. In the process method, RPC method name dot update transform global transform. Okay. I have a good amount of confidence that that will work, but we'll see. Yeah, so the RPC works. The synchronizers do not. Neither the NetFox one nor the multiplayer synchronizer. That is so weird. There are more errors here though, but I think that's just related to, yeah, that RPC not working. That is so weird. For my game, I've been using Photon for Unity. It's a blessing. Yeah. State synchronizer sharp won't work without it. Still doesn't explain multiplayer synchronizer though. Okay, I'm going to try getting that. Is that just on the GitHub? I'll go ahead and grab that and see. This didn't work at all, so get rid of that. Try to get back down to a reasonable state here. Okay, work on synchronizer. Cool. All right, let me go grab that from GitHub real quick. NetFox sharp. 4 minutes ago, commit. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and grab that. Let's see. I'm going to close Godot just I know Godot doesn't like to be updated while, or doesn't like to have its add-ons updated while it's running. Extract to NetFox sharp main, add-ons. I'll just go ahead and copy all that over. Okay. So, and I'm going to reopen the project. So we got, yeah, so those are the only two files that changed. Good. Good. Cooperative roguelike. Build. I don't think it would have anything to do with the fact that I'm using Steam add-ons as well. That's another question I have to see if the NetFox should work with Steam integration, right? Because the Steam just provides the multiplayer peer extension. So I don't think that would be the problem, but maybe the Steam add-ons that I'm using are interfering somehow. But I'm not actually utilizing any of the Steam functionality yet, so I don't know why that would be the case, but that might be something else to try too. What was I doing? Synchronizer sharp. Okay. Here we go. Multiplayer spawner should sync all nodes it already has spawned to a client. Oh, everything's tested with it. Okay. Yeah. Okay, well that's good to know. Yeah, still not synchronizing. Oh, man. I know that your fix was not specifically related to getting this to work, but... I don't know what to do. So the Godot synchronizer isn't working. The NetFox synchronizer isn't working. Probably for the same reasons, right? Or similar reasons. Try just global position. I think I tried that before already, but we'll see. That is so weird. That is unbelievably weird. I was hoping it would work with that alone too. Once multiplayer synchronizer works, state synchronizer should too. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to figure that out. I have no clue what to do. Like, I don't even know where to look. What's not working? The multiplayer synchronizer and the state synchronizer. So these are supposed to synchronize properties to all the connected peers, but it's just not working for some reason. Like it should be, so this is the server window here that I just set up. This guy's moving along on the server just fine, but he's not being synchronized on the client. I'm not used to seeing struggle. I guess this is our world now. I'm sure there's some, like, there's got to be some, like, really, really weird quirk happening right now. And I'm just not... I don't know what that would be. I'm sure you can figure it out. I feel exactly how you feel when I started working on my multiplayer game. Yeah. Yeah. Here, let me just gonna push these. Ah, oh, man. Well, I'm gonna have to take a break and let this rattle around in my head a little bit. So I'm gonna end the stream there. I'm gonna go grab some lunch as well. anytime you're stuck, it's a good idea to just walk away, take a break for an hour or two, come back to it. So that's what I'm going to do. That's my strategic next step. Do you need to configure anything special? Because that's weird. No, I shouldn't. No. I mean, what's especially weird, like, it would be one thing if it was only the state synchronizer not working, because that would suggest something wrong with either NetFox or NetFox Sharp. But the built-in Godot multiplayer synchronizer doesn't work either. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I verified all the paths. I double and triple and quadruple checked the paths, the property paths that I want to synchronize. Okay, actually, there's one more thing that I want to try. I'll put a dot in there. I think I would see an error, though, if it wasn't synchronized. Okay, yeah, that doesn't... I figured that wouldn't work, but it was worth a shot. What happens if I get rid of this? Nope. If I add an empty element, shouldn't I be seeing errors related to invalid property paths? Okay, well, yeah. I gotta go take a break and figure this out. Have a good break, yeah. Yeah. Every morning I realize how tired I was when I was coding the night before, yeah. Well, yeah, I'm gonna call the stream there, but thank you everyone for watching, and thank you Dusty Doug in particular for helping me walk through this stuff and for pushing that fix. That's very much appreciated. And yeah, I will, I'll be back streaming again tomorrow at 10 a.m., so we'll see if I'm still having this issue or not. I hope I can get over it sometime today, and then we can continue on doing some more interesting development stuff tomorrow. But yeah, once again, I have Gunforged available for purchase down below. So if it looks like the kind of game you're interested in, please consider purchasing it. You can also purchase one of my Udemy courses. That's linked below as well. Yeah, and have a good day, everyone. And I'll see you in tomorrow's stream. All right, bye-bye.